All of my life. Ever since second grade, I decided I wanted to be a reptile man. I was fortunate to grow up in Iowa. Not because there's a lot of reptiles there. Matter of fact, it was really hard to find a reptile in Iowa. But there weren't any laws telling me what I could and could not have. So I've had it all. I've had every reptile you've ever heard of. I haven't had a Komodo dragon yet, but I want one. They won't let me have one. Name of my company is Reptile Adventures. You can check it out on my website, reptileadventures.com. I do schools, libraries, birthday parties, special events, movies, videos, anything that has to do with a reptile. I can be your man. I brought some of my pets today. I want to get them out and tell you all about them. At the end of the program, we got a little special thing going on. I'm going to have one of my friends out here, and it's a little bigger, and we're going to allow you to walk by the tables here and have a hands-on experience and touch one of my reptile friends. You want to do that? You want to touch one? Okay. All right, we're going to start with lizards. The first lizard is really nice. Her name is Sunset. Let's check her out. It's a bearded dragon from Australia. It's a designer bearded dragon. Usually they're kind of a sandy color. This is a special orange phase. Bearded dragons live in the desert in Australia. And out in the desert it's usually hard to see them because they blend in really well. But if you see one, you can see they're covered with spikes like a cactus. Look at all those spikes. But they're not sharp. I can touch them. They're fuzzy. They can make them sharp. When they're out in the desert in Australia, if an animal comes up to bother them, they change their shape from this shape like this to flat as a plate like that. When they go flat like a plate, then those spikes stick right out like a cactus and they're real sharp. And then they can take their throat and they puff their throat out like this. When they puff their throat out, it's covered with spikes, and it looks like a beard. That's how they got their name, bearded. Then they open up their mouth and show off their teeth. They're actually pretty scary looking with their spikes and their beard and their teeth. And they try to look so scary that you'll leave them alone. But they're not scary. If you have a pet bearded dragon, they'll ride around on your shoulder with you. You can go mess around with your friends. They'll just kind of hang out. Sometimes they climb on your head, though.
Wait for the light on my top to go all the way down. So
bearded dragons out in the desert can't get a drink of water when they want to. So in the morning, when the plants are wet, they eat the leaves off the plants. That's how they get their drink of water in the desert. Then they eat bugs the rest of the day. And they eat so much. Because they live at a warm temperature, they burn up a lot of energy. And the babies have to eat a lot so they can grow up quick. The little babies can grow to an adult in 1 year. When they're a year old, then they're old enough to lay eggs. Bearded dragons lay eggs. And they lay a lot of eggs. One year I had 2 girls and a boy. I wanted to have babies so I could sell them to get money to buy more reptiles. When it was time for the girls to lay their eggs, the first girl, she dug a hole and she laid 20 eggs. I thought, wow, 20 of them. I was excited. Then the other girl laid 15. So I had 35 eggs. I was anxious for them to hatch. But you know what happened? 3 weeks later, they laid eggs again. Then 3 weeks later, they laid eggs again. And then, 3 weeks later, they laid eggs again. Then the first egg started to hatch. That was cool. Then the girls laid eggs again. Then more hatched, and they laid eggs again. One of the girls, she laid eggs 8 times every 3 weeks. The other girl laid eggs 5 times. And from those 2 girls in 1 season, I hatched out 185 babies. Ka-ching! It was awesome. Everybody wanted to buy them because they're such a great lizard. The reason they have so many babies is because they have so many predators. See, nature's all figured out that way. If an animal has a lot of predators, that's animals that eat other animals. If they have a lot of predators, they have to have a lot of babies or they would become extinct. And animals that don't have predators, they don't have a lot of babies or there would be too many of them. Nature's all figured out that way. Great, great pet lizard. These have become one of the most popular pet lizards that people have today. Good lizard, high maintenance, they eat a lot. Another great pet lizard, it's probably one of the favorites, is the leopard gecko. They too, the two most popular pet lizards. And that's Sunset, the bearded dragon. The next one's from Australia, and the next one has a blue tongue. This is called a blue-tongued skink. Now, let me see. I was going to come down there. Can you guys scoot back? I'm going to walk by you. This is called a blue-tongued skink, and his name is Slim. He'll be sticking his tongue out here in a minute. Blue-tongued skinks come from Australia, and in Australia where they live, they stay on the ground, sliding around, tasting everything with their blue tongue. That's what reptiles do. When they stick their tongue out, they're tasting the air. The smell of the air sticks to their tongue. Then they take their tongue back into their mouth to a special place that wipes off their tongue and tells them what they're tasting. And that's why they're always sticking their tongue out. He's not doing very much, anybody. His tongue is all blue. When they're sliding around, tasting everything with their blue tongue, you know there's animals that might try to get them. So they use their blue tongue to protect themselves. See, if an animal tries to get them, they can't run fast to get away. Their legs are too little. They can't climb a tree to escape. Their feet are too tiny to hang on. Their tail, it doesn't really break off and grow back like some lizards. And their tail, it's not long enough to whip you with, like some of the other lizards. So to protect themselves, they use their blue tongue. See, the tongue is longer than that. It's long and wide, and it's all blue. And to protect themselves, this is what they do. Watch this. When they're walking around in Australia, they're looking for something to eat. If an animal comes up to bother them, they can open their mouth up real quick. And they stick their tongue out and they wave their blue tongue at you and try to scare you. When you jump back, That's their chance to get away. But if you don't jump back, they'll sit there with their mouth open, waving their blue tongue in the air at you, and that makes you think they're dangerous or poisonous. This lizard is an omnivore. Omnivore means they eat all the different types of foods. They'll eat fruits and vegetables. They'll eat bugs. They'll eat little creatures like snails and slugs. They'll eat cat food and dog food. Maybe some macaroni and cheese. That's an omnivore. All the different types of foods. Oh, and their babies? Their babies are born without eggs. They have live birth, no eggs. See, some lizards lay eggs, and some lizards have live babies. Just like snakes. Some snakes lay eggs, and some snakes have live babies. These make a wonderful pet because they eat a lot of people food. You don't have to run out to the pet store buying crickets all the time. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful lizard called the blue-tongued skink. S-K-I-N-K. The word skink means long and slender. Skinks come from all over the world. Usually they're long and slender with little legs and feet. In Australia, they have the largest skinks. And they usually always have that shiny body that looks like it's almost wet. But all reptiles are dry. Every reptile in the world is dry. Some of them look wet because they're shiny. And that's slim. But the next lizard is very special.
He dropped it on you.
As I mentioned, I've had reptiles all my life. I cannot believe I have this. Well, I can now, but years ago I would have never dreamt I could have a lizard like this. Until about 10 years ago, no one in the world had one of these lizards. Now, it's an iguana. It's a green iguana. Lots of people have green iguanas. I have several, but not like this. Her name is Amarilla.
Well, I gotta have someone.
This is an albino iguana. She was supposed to be green. But when she was born, she was special. The black was gone. And if you have green and you take the black away, that makes yellow. And albinos always have pink eyes. She's good. They come from Central and South America. And usually, like I say, they're green. She would have never survived in the wild because she wouldn't be able to hide in the green foliage. But she was born in a friend of mine's place. To protect themselves, they just run. They're so fast and they climb right up to the top of a tree. Look at those long toes. Their toes are so long for hanging on. And their toenails, I have to trim them because they're as sharp as fish hooks. But they just run right up to the top of a tree. And of course, if you get too close, then they have their tail. It's a whip. They will whip you right in the face. Oh, it hurts so bad. Then they run up the tree. Yeah. She's a herbivore. Herbivore means they eat mostly plants. And a herbivore has a special stomach. They can digest leaves from trees. Special stomach to digest the leaves. So she gets a nice big salad every day. They will eat some bugs, but mostly plant material. She loves flowers and fruits and things. She's an albino. Remember, albino means when an animal is born and the black is gone. Like a white rabbit with pink eyes, that's an albino rabbit. She's going to grow to be over 6 feet long. She'll be a big lizard. And I just love her. She's awesome. That's Amarilla. The next lizard is my favorite. He's so cool. I've had him for 22 years. Raised him from a little baby. And he's an iguana too. But he's not a green iguana. He's a rhinoceros iguana. His name is Tebow.
Está grandota.
Tebow's called a rhinoceros iguana. He has a scale on his nose like a horn. He comes from the island where Haiti and the Dominican Republic are. They live out on the rocks. That's why he's colored like the rocks. When they're climbing around on the rocks, they have these hard scales on their face. So if they bump their face on a rock, it doesn't hurt them. And their skin is tough. If a rock scratches them, it doesn't hurt them. Their toenails are powerful for digging in the rocks and dirt. They like to dig a hole in the ground. And then they sleep down in the ground at night and only come out in the daytime. When animals come out in the daytime, that word is diurnal. Nocturnal is nighttime, diurnal is daytime. He only comes out in the daytime. When he comes out, he goes around and eats weeds and flowers and fruits and vegetables. He's a herbivore. And like I say, he's 22 years old. He'll be 23 years old on this Thanksgiving Day. He was this big when I got him. He's my buddy. He gets to have his picture on my shirts. Oh, even though he's going to be 23 years old, he still has to have a lizard diaper. Evo, sit on your diaper. Sit down. Sometimes he has an accident. It's not funny. He's a boy. Boys get these fat cheeks. To protect himself, he'd run away. He's so fast, animals can't catch him. But if an animal grabbed him, he'd be kicking and gouging with his claws, biting with his razor-sharp teeth, and his tail is not so long because he doesn't climb in the trees. But his tail's a weapon. His tail is so sharp, if you accidentally bump against it the wrong way, it will take your skin off. Yeah, it'll tear you up. But he's my buddy. Yeah, he could probably live to be about 45 years. Yeah, he's a great pet. Has a wonderful personality. I brought him a treat. Should we give him a treat? Yeah. All right. Oh, you see him lick his lip? This is prickly pear cactus. And he picks it up with his fat, sticky tongue. Get him, Tebow. Go get him.
Go get it.
Get him. your feet. Oh, I told him to stay on his diaper. Tebow, here, get up there and get him. There you go. Take a stick, get one down. Oh, yeah. That's good. Get another one. Get it? Got it. Oh, yeah, that's good. His teeth are real little, but they're razor blade sharp. It's a bad bite from an iguana. You have to get stitches. We need to kind of sit down a little bit because people behind you can't see. Now, you guys need to get down off the stage first. There's some room right up in the front right there if you want to go around and squeeze in there. Get him, Tebow. Get this one. Get here. Tebow, get this one. Don't get my finger! Little lizard. There's a little piece there. Get it. Get it! Get it. Were they laughing at you? He's a cool lizard. You know what he can do? He knows how to wave goodbye. You want to see him do it? Okay. He didn't use his diaper. It's slippery without his coat. Yeah. Tebow, we're going to wave goodbye to him, okay? No, this way. Tebow, no. Okay, when I pick him up, give him a little wave. Watch his front feet. See if he waves goodbye. Let's go, Tebow! Let's talk about snakes. Well, this first snake, everybody needs to sit down. Have sit down. This first snake it's a corn snake. And corn snakes have always been one of the favorite pet snakes that people have had for years. They come from South Carolina and Georgia and Florida, and they have just beautiful colors. This particular color phase is from South Carolina. And as I said, many people have these for a pet. They're so nice that if you find one out in the forest and you pick it up, it's already your friend. Yeah, they're just really, really a nice snake. See, some snakes are really nice. See, reptiles are like people. Some people aren't very nice, but most people are pretty nice. And there's a lot of really nice snakes. And corn snakes are so nice, that's why so many people have them for a pet. And we've been breeding them in captivity for years. So now we have all different colors, and some with different patterns. There's so many different corn snakes, and they're great. But you know why it's good to have snakes around? They eat the mice and the rats. Oh yeah. You know, if there's too many mice and rats out there, it's a terrible thing. If there are too many mice and rats, it causes disease and sickness. Snakes are like the only animal in the world that I can think of. By using their tongue, they can taste where the mouse or rat went and follow it right to its home.
and then go right down the hole and get them. What other animal can do that? Go right down the hole and get them, probably eat the whole family. Now, if you have a snake living in your backyard, obviously you don't want a rattlesnake in your backyard. But if you have a king snake or a gopher snake, king snakes they'll even eat the rattlesnakes. And gopher snakes, oh, just like their name, they love mice and rats and gophers. And if they're living there, they're eating something. And once the food is gone, they'll find a new place to live. So it's good to have snakes around, even though they might make us a little nervous. This is called the corn snake, also called the red rat snake. And if you're thinking about having your first pet snake, I would recommend a corn snake. And a lot of people go, no, I don't want a snake because you have to feed them live food. That's not true. I have hundreds and hundreds of snakes, and none of them get live food. I keep the food frozen, all right, in the freezer. It's thawed out, and when it's at room temperature, I dry it off, and when you hand it to the snake, it grabs it, wraps around, and squeezes. It thinks it's alive. So you don't have to have live food. And if you have a pet snake and you're feeding it live food, one of these days you're going to have a problem. See, sometimes when a snake tries to kill its food, they don't grab the rat or the mouse just right, and the rat or the mouse can turn around and bite your snake, a good one. So in the wild, when you find a snake, they almost always have scars from trying to kill their food. So if you have a nice pet snake, you don't want it to be hurt. So I suggest you feed it thawed out food. You don't have to use live food. Just keep it in the freezer in a special container next to the steak and the chicken. Just make sure the container's marked so Mom doesn't open up the wrong container. The next snake is kind of appropriate for Halloween. Her name is Pumpkin. Well, this snake comes from Honduras, and it's a type of king snake. They're called Honduran milk snake. They don't drink milk. There's a lot of different kinds of milk snakes. Most milk snakes have that red, black, and yellow, like a coral snake. So you'll think they're poisonous. But this is a special one. In Honduras, they have this same snake that's red, black, and yellow. But then they have this one that's called tangerine phase, where the orange and the yellow kind of blend together. But this isn't just a tangerine phase. This is it's a hypomelanistic tangerine phase Honduran milk snake. That's a long name. Melanistic means black. Hypomelanistic means that some of the black is gone. So this is hypomelanistic. If all the black was gone, it would be an albino. And you know why they're called king snakes? They kill and eat other snakes. They can kill and eat a rattlesnake. This snake meets a rattlesnake, it'll grab it with its mouth, wrap around and squeeze it. Rattlesnakes can't squeeze anything. Rattlesnakes, they use their venom, their poison to get their food. If this snake meets a rattlesnake, he'll grab him, wrap around and squeeze it, and the rattlesnake will try to bite the king snake. But the poison doesn't hurt him. It's like the one here in Arizona, the black and yellow one, the black and white one, the California king snake. They eat rattlesnakes. Poison doesn't hurt them. They just keep squeezing the rattlesnake until they can't breathe anymore. Then they swallow the whole snake. Yeah. And this is the largest of all the king snakes. These grow to 7 feet. Most king snakes and milk snakes are smaller. They have a voracious appetite. Now, I'm sure you look at this and you go, now that is one slimy snake. Because it looks so wet. Every reptile in the world is dry. It's just shiny. And a snake like this is one of the cleanest animals in the world. You might not believe that, but they are. That skin is so nice that when they crawl through dirt, the dirt doesn't even stick to them. And when they're out in the wild and they're crawling along, if they have to relieve themselves, they just keep crawling. Now, if you have a snake for a pet, or a lizard for a pet, when they have to go to the bathroom, they have no place to go to leave the environment. If you have a snake in a cage, you've got to keep the cage clean. If you have a lizard in a cage, you've got to keep the cage clean. Because they can't live in there with that. If you keep the cage clean, you can have an awesome pet. One of the cleanest animals in the world. There's nothing that comes out of their skin. Now, we have to take a shower. We get hot, sweat. Reptiles don't do that. That's pumpkin, the Honduran and milk snake. The next one's a python. This python's so cool. He lives in the trees. It's a tree python. Comes from Australia. And because they live in the trees, they have special muscles for holding on, so they don't fall out of the tree. It's called the jungle carpet python. His name is Jesse. Check out. Watch what Jesse can do. Watch this. He never falls from the tree. They can hang on so tight, and they live up in the trees their whole life. They come down once in a while to go to a new tree. But look at how he can hang on. That's not even hard for him. He's a super athlete. They sneak around in the trees at night, looking for mice and rats and birds. They sneak up on them, they grab them, they wrap around and squeeze. It's a constrictor, a squeezer. No, watch, he's going to climb up. He thinks I'm a tree. You know, when I go to birthday parties, it's so fun. Because it's a birthday person's special day, they get to hold all the animals. And the birthday person, they get to be the tree. Is anybody's birthday today? Yesterday was your birthday? You want to be the tree? Come here. Is it okay? Mom and Dad, is it okay? Look at Mom and Dad. Look at Mom and Dad. Where are they at? Is it okay, sir? Come here, honey. She's not afraid. This is Abby. Put your branch out like this. Yeah, put the other branch out like that. Now, Abby, make your fist small, because you're a powerful tree. Now, Abby, the trees can't move. So, when Jesse climbs through the tree, it's just like that. Okay? Remember, trees can't move. Okay, Jesse, this is the Abby tree. Yeah. Ready? Okay, Jesse. Get a hold. Keep your branch up. Keep your branch up. Let go of That's a cool snake. Okay, Abby, you were awesome.
I'll give you my.
Jesse's got to get back in his box. Okay, that was fun. Listen. This next snake, it's a little python from Africa. Her name is Patches. Okay, listen. This thing comes from Africa. It's a python, but it doesn't get big. It's a type of python that stays small. They only get about 4 or 5 feet. In Africa, where they live, you know there's a lot of big animals that might try to hurt them or eat them for lunch. So to protect themselves, they don't bite. They hide their head like this. They take their body and they wrap their body all around their head. And they roll up into a ball. Then they make their muscles real hard. So the whole outside of the ball is hard as can be, and the animal trying to hurt them can't hurt them because it's just a hard ball. It's called the ball python. It rolls up like an armadillo. Or like those little roly-poly bugs, the little pill bugs. That's its protection. Now, a lot of people have these for a pet because they're strong and sturdy, they're real slow-moving, and they would rather hide their head than bite you. Now, this is a special one. I like having special reptiles. Wasn't supposed to have that white skin. Oh, no. No, it's not supposed to have that. One day in Africa, they found a snake like this. They found a ball python that had white skin patches. They'd never seen one before. It was so rare. A friend of mine, he wanted that snake so bad. So he made a deal where he could buy it. He borrowed money against his house. Oh, his wife was upset. But he was a reptile guy like me. So he borrowed this money. And he bought that snake. The first ball python with white skin in the world. You know how much he paid for it? Over $60,000. You know what he was thinking? He wasn't. But you know what? He thought if that snake had babies with white skin, he could sell them and make a lot of money. Because all reptile people would want one. So he bought the snake, raised it up, and finally, after a number of years, he started producing ball pythons with white skin, and he sold a lot of them for $30,000 a piece to sick people like me. Seriously, I wouldn't spend $30,000 for a snake. Well, maybe I would. But he gave this one to me. He's a good friend. It's called a piebald ball python. Piebald. And they can have one patch of white skin, or a lot of patches, or the whole thing could be almost all white with a couple patches of black. It's a piebald ball python. They only get to be about 4 or 5 feet long, and ball pythons are so popular now that we make all different colors of them. We make pure white ones with black eyes. We make pure white ones with blue eyes. We make albinos, we make striped ones, we make orange ones. It's one of the most popular snakes in collections today. They don't get too big. They're a great pet ball python. Now, when I say the word python, people think of big snakes. But they don't all get big. This only gets 4 or 5 feet. Of course, the biggest snake in the world is the anaconda. Anacondas, they get so big. The biggest anaconda we know of was 30 feet long. That's longer than this stage. I hope mine get that big. But that's not the longest snake in the world. Nope. They're the biggest. Longest snake in the world is called the reticulated python. The longest reticulated python we know of was 34 feet. Those are the ones that have eaten people before in the jungle of Southeast Asia. A big one can swallow a whole person. I brought one. Okay, her name is Teresa. Teresa's awesome. Teresa was born at my place. I have her mom and dad. She's doing so well. When she was born, she was the prettiest baby of all the girls, so I kept her for a pet. She's growing well. Let me get her out, I'll show you. She's growing well. She's a reticulated python, but she's not a normal one, she's a special one. Reticulated pythons usually have a pattern like this. She's called a super tiger. Super tiger is a genetic trait that makes them more striped looking. She's 9 years old. She's so sweet. Yeah, she goes to birthday parties. Yeah, I go to your house. I roll out a rug in your living room. The birthday person, they get to sit crisscross applesauce. And Teresa comes out and wraps all around. Yeah, it's awesome. She's never tried to hurt anyone. She is so nice. She's going to get big though. She weighs about 170 pounds. She'll go to 350 pounds. She's only half grown. You know what she eats? You see that? She eats pigs. She can swallow a 25-pound pig. She swallows the whole pig. And she gets a great big lump in her stomach. She's got to lay on her side for about 2 weeks. She only has to eat once a month. She only has to eat about once a month, because it takes a while to digest. Now her neck is only this big around, but she can swallow a big this big around. Because snakes, they don't have a chin. Their head can stretch apart like this, because they don't have a chin. That's how they swallow big fish. To protect herself, she would bite. She has 4 rows of teeth on top, 2 rows of teeth on the bottom. She has over 100 teeth. It's a bad bite. But she's never tried to bite anyone. That's why I'm going to let you guys touch her. Do you want to touch her? Okay, all right, listen to the rules. Listen to the rules. When you pet a snake, you only pet one way. They don't have hair, they have scales. And the scales all go this way. So you only pet one way. Now, we are going to walk by the table. The key word here is walk, not stop. Walk. Someone's going to be at the end of the line. And if you're stopping, they are not going to be happy with you. We're not going to push and shove. Oh no. We're going to be calm. We're going to walk by the table and let your fingers float down her back. And we're not going to touch her tail. Her tail's ticklish. If we're tickling her tail, she's not going to lay nice. Now you might touch her and go, oh, it's wet. No, you're wet. She's not wet. People get wet. I'm a little wet right now. So when you touch her, if your hand might be a little bit wet, use the back of your fingers and feel how dry and smooth it is. Please remember, folks, I know you like to get pictures. This is not a private photo shoot. You're welcome to take pictures, but everybody needs to keep moving and walking because someone's going to be at the end of the line. Now, because her scales go this way, the line starts over here. My name is Rich Eiley from Reptile Adventures. Thank you, folks. Come on up and touch Teresa.
Come over this way. Hold on, guys. What are you doing? Danielle. Come get
I'll stay right here.
Stay here. Hold on. You guys are together. Stay together.
Okay, no pushing.
Great show.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Get a face in there.